Jolie here for Seconds Out with extremely successful amateur Karol Itauma. Pleasure to be joined by yourself ahead of the first BT Sport Prospect Show this Friday night. How are you feeling? Are you in good spirits?
Yeah, I'm excited. Not long now. Been a good camp and weighing tomorrow and Friday. Showtime.
How are you kind of expecting the prospect shows to go? This is the first one, as I say. I went to, I think it was the Frank Warren's office. I can't remember whereabouts it is, but basically the moral of the story is I look at posters from like 10 years ago and you see loads of youngsters on shows that at the time no one really truly knew much about them, and then you look at them now. I was looking at them like a couple of months ago and it had like huge names on it. Do you think this is kind of the same in that there's going to be a lot of prospects that are genuinely going to be contenders in the future, that people will look back at cars like this and think there's a lot of talent, if that makes sense?
Absolutely. I'm truly grateful to be a part of Queensbury, and thank you to Frank and Queensbury for actually putting on these shows, because it gives us youngsters, the prospects, opportunities to showcase our skills and show the world what we're really about. I'm only 20 years old, still young. I'm not even matured yet. So, it's very exciting.
I'm 20 as well, so I don't know what I am. If you're not matured, I'm something else. I just don't look 20, basically. But, yeah, back onto boxing. What was kind of the transition like? Obviously, you're 3-0 now. As I say, successful amateur career. Why did you want to sign with Frank, and kind of how's the transition been?
The transition has been very smooth. Well, I've been training, the way I've been training is suited the pro style anyway. Free training, S&C, the cardio work and stuff like that. Nothing's been changed a lot. Even down to my coaches. I'm still with the same amateur coach that I was with. So the trust's there, the team's there, the work ethic's there, and now it's just to make our dreams a reality.
Yeah. What is it going to be like then over the next year for you, just constant fights?
Yeah, so over the next year, it's just all about learning, all about maturing, all about, getting their marginal gains in, because that's what it's all about. Like, I could tell you, right now, or 5 months from now, I would improve 15%, but that's a lie. It's all about the little minute improvements, hitting a little bit harder, getting a little bit stronger, getting a little bit faster, so that in a year's time, 2 years' time, that's when it all adds up and accumulates. And I'm excited.
How do you look at other fighters that have been in similar positions to you and kind of learn from that? An example I'll use is David Adley, obviously different division, a couple weights above, but he still is a fantastic fighter. He is a fantastic fighter, there's no doubt, but obviously he had a little bump in the road. He got the W, but do you kind of look at boxing as a whole? Are you like surrounded by boxing all the time and kind of soaking other people's experiences up?
Learning from other people's experiences, absolutely. I believe that you can learn something from everyone, whether it's a boxer, whether it's a spectator, whether it's someone in the bar. There's something to learn from everyone, and being aware of them things is important. I think that's all I've got to say about that.
Yeah. Fair enough. Kind of looking at the light heavyweight division right now, then, how far do you think you are away off? I'm not saying you should compare yourself to anyone, but how far until you think you could be potentially fighting for British? I know that's kind of ridiculous saying that, but there's always aims and goals. Do you still see yourself fighting at a level below that for 2 years, 3 years? I kind of expected. Well, I don't know what to expect actually, because you've had, as I keep saying, a good amateur background, so it's different for everyone. But
yeah, like I said, when I mature and become a man, I'm only 20 still, but perhaps in the year 2023, I think that's when perhaps I'll develop a bit more. Obviously, light heavyweights, the heavier you are, the kind of later you mature. But yeah, about 2023, around that maybe that's like a timeline.
The other people in the country right now, we've obviously got Callum Johnson, Shagan Pitters, Craig Richards, Anthony Yarde, Joshua Boatsy, Lyndon Arthur, stacked with talent. Who do you think's the best of the bunch right now?
Well, the one that's had the most, experience, and the one I I believe is probably the top one out as is Callum Johnson. Obviously boxed Petoviev on that world scene. So if we gain off experience and being there and sunken up all the energy, that's probably him.
And Lyndon Arthur versus Anthony Yarde. I'm not sure whether Lyndon Arthur truly wants to fight. I don't think he needs to take the fight, but it's not about that. If that fight does happen, do you think? Well, who do you think wins?
I believe what we saw last time was once again a close fight, wasn't it? It was very competitive, and it just comes down to whoever wants it more. That's kind of the sport we're in. Lyndon Arthur comes out and with this, same thing as he did, and he's gonna win. But then if Anthony Yarde wants it more, then do you know what I mean? It's just who wants it more on the night.
Yeah, I kind of asked this the wrong way round. I want to quickly talk about Team GB. What have you learnt from that? I always ask ex-Team GB boxers what you kind of soaked up from that experience.
Well, Team GB was very being surrounded by the talent was great, and obviously the strategies like the running in the morning and the SNC and stuff like that, and the professionalism, it was good. Yeah. But everyone's different. I think that's it.
Who were you closest to when you're in that team?
Probably like Connor Tusbury and Ramtin. Probably them two.
It's so interesting to see boxers who have come up together through being in Team GB and then hearing about it a few years later. It's wild to just think that boxers of massive magnitude just live with each other, and it was all kind of grown from there. It's such a weird thing, but yeah, I often think about that. Was it something that you feel like you wouldn't be in the position you are right now if you didn't have that experience?
No, I don't think there's any of that. When I was younger, when I started boxing, I started winning stuff. I wrote myself a plan, and I stuck that next to my bedside, and it's like a little checklist. And the end goal was always to be undisputed world champion. So whether or not I went GB or didn't go GB, I still would have been pro.
Do you feel like?
So I'm just blessed, and every step I'm taking closer to that.
Do you feel like boxers need to aim for Team GB when they're in the amateurs before they go pro, or do you not think it actually matters?
No, I don't think so. Like I said before, everyone's different. That's why some boxers that are really good amateurs, they're not good pros. Some could be really good pros but not good amateurs, and it's one of them things that it all depends on styles and depends on the person. You can't just say, just because you're a good amateur, you're going to be a good pro. So I don't think you have to be on GB to be a good pro.
Do you think it matters at all?
Experience-wise, perhaps, but the learning you can do yourself with a good team around. If you do have a good team around you, you can do that learning stuff. But yeah, experience is crucial.
Very interesting. So would you say, if you could sort of give us a percentage of the fight you are today, how much of that is down to Team GB? Well,
I wasn't actually on Team GB, the senior squad.
Yeah. But when you were?
A lot of the work was done by my club coaches in St Mary's. So I don't feel like a lot of the work was done there, because I wasn't living there. I wasn't a Team GB athlete in the senior squad. Obviously, I was going to England camps and flying around the world. But most of that is down to my coaches, my Dan, and St Mary's.
That's very interesting. Obviously, I've never lived it myself, but you hear a lot of people, as you say, not live together, but flying abroad, you kind of expect to live that lifestyle. Even if it's for 2 weeks, it could change you for the rest of your life, because you just wake up, eat porridge, and just and then just train all day. That's kind of the experience I've heard, but that's why I keep asking, because I don't know what it is like, and kind of getting the vibe that you don't necessarily, as you said earlier, it just depends what type of boxer you are.
Absolutely, no. That's what it is. You can't pick two different people and treat them the same way, in the sense of tell them they're both gonna do the same thing. No, one person always gonna be different to another. So that's important.
Really interesting conversation. Obviously, it's kind of because it's seen as the the best way to come through. You come through the Olympics or Team GB and then you turn pro. It's interesting to get kind of a different side of that. It's almost like a weird way. It's almost like school. Everyone's just expected to go through school and then go to university and get a good job. Same with the boxing. You go to Team GB and then you might be the best boxer. It's different to. It's kind of interesting to hear that side of your story. But appreciate you taking the time. One more quickly on this weekend. What can we expect from you?
Sharp and technical performance.
That's it. Very simple words to end this video. It's been a long one, but thanks for your time. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch up after the fight. Thank you very much.